All right, welcome into Field House here on Elevation 5280 Sports. And you can catch us all the time at e5280sports.com if you're not watching the stream. It's right there on top of your screen on all social media platforms. Search Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle on Facebook, at 5280 Sports Radio on Twitter, same as the Instagram and same as the YouTube, which we are live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and the old Twitter machine. Well, Matt, last week was Victory Sunday, and I guess you could consider this Victory Sunday because we haven't had a Western Conference Finals game since last Monday, as the Nuggets took care of the Los Angeles Lakers in 4 games. And we thought the Eastern Conference Finals was going to be a short ride, but as it turns out, especially last night, Matt, that is certainly not the case, as Colorado's own Derek White gets a tip in with 0.1 seconds left to lift the Celtics in Game 6, force a Game 7. It's only the 4th team in NBA history to come back 3-0 and force a Game 7. Matt, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. I don't know if I'm doing as good as, or I know I'm doing a lot better than that married couple. I don't know if you saw this on Twitter that were celebrating the Miami quote unquote win during their wedding, and then they realized that that last tip in counted. I'm doing a lot better than those people right now. I mean, are the Celtics, are the C's going to do it, or are they? It was funny when everybody was saying the Lakers were LeBron's. I chase history. I chase history. That's what we're going to do this. And then the Celtics are sitting over there. And did you get the feeling? Because I don't know if I did. I felt like that Miami would finish this series sometime in the last week, But I didn't expect this. I didn't know if it was going to happen this year. I didn't know. Everybody was talking about, that 150-1, blah, blah, blah kind of stuff. And I'm excited because we get to watch a Game 7, and as exciting as that game was last night, holy cow. And I hope this Game 7 is even as exciting, but the history that is linked to, and it's another Boston team that's going to do it, or has a chance to do it.
Yeah, it was a crazy finish last night, and it even said on TNT at the bottom, because they weren't sure.
Right.
Stan Van Gundy was like, I don't think he got it off in time, and clearly got it off with 0.1 seconds left. Max Strus did everything he could to affect that shot, and that's the one. And I think Eric Spoelstra, the Heat head coach, afterwards said, if it would have bounced any other, that was the only way it could bounce. If it bounced any other way, we would be celebrating. But and now the series shifts back to Boston. I said if even after game 5, if and even Jaylen Brown said it, don't let us get 1.
Let's get 1, right?
Let us get 2, and now they've gotten 3. I don't know, man. I think the Celtics can be the first team in NBA history to win a series down 3-0, because I don't know where Jimmy Buckets was yesterday until like the last. He was absent for about 46 minutes and about 8 seconds of that game, and
he was passive. He was passive too. He wasn't getting the buckets. He was. It was very odd Jimmy Butler game. I don't know if he was waiting for it to go. I don't know what was going on with Jimmy Butler. You have an opportunity at home to finish the game, and you would have liked a little bit more from him in those first 3. God, what do you call it? Like 40 minutes, I guess, because that last 10 minutes, I guess he fired up. So that first 40 minutes, I don't know where the hell he was.
Yeah, and I even tweeted this out, Matt. I said it's pretty sad when Duncan Robinson is more willing to drive to the rim than Jimmy Butler. That's where we were. Somehow Butler finished with 24 points. I don't know where that came from. And then he made those clutch 3 free throws at the end, and you were like, oh, that could have been it right there.
Yeah.
As he was fouled by Al Horford. Side tangent, is it more annoying to see Al Horford play with his mouthpiece than Steph Curry at this point?
I think so. Yeah. That they all annoy me. LeBron annoys me. And yes. He's Al Horford's annoying with that damn mouthpiece. And like I said, Steph, because he's always having it out. Did you know Nikola wears a mouthpiece?
Yeah, but he doesn't play with it.
You never see it.
He just puts it in and out really quick. Like he's the Joker, so you don't see it.
Right.
So
Right.
that's what.
But yeah, I agree. It's annoying. Leave it in your freaking mouth. Like I tell my even the football players when I got the kids, because I see them doing that crap that's on the side of their mouth, or they got it up here. They like to put it behind their ear, and I'm like, no, put it in your mouth or take it out. Just don't. It just drives me freaking crazy. Mainly because they keep losing them. We got to keep. I don't know if Steph Curry loses his mouthpiece all the time. I wouldn't imagine he does, but I'm sure he's got like hundreds of those things just on standby. But yeah, that drives me crazy. It is annoying.
Yeah, so that was just a little side note there, but I mean, how old is That's just is he 42? Is that why he wears 42?
Maybe. Yeah, I
It
think
seems like
so.
he's been literally around forever. I know LeBron's been around 20 years, but Al Horford, it seems more than that for some reason. But we just don't hear about him because it's not LeBron James.
He's got to be up there. He's got to be up there.
Yeah. So anyway, Al Horford, annoying mouthpiece as well. And yeah, Boston comes back to win that game after having a 15-point lead, Matt, at some point in that game. And for Miami to let Miami hang around, because the first two Miami losses to Boston in the series, Matt, was absolute dominant performances by the Celtics. And this one was, you kind of figure it would be closer because not only is Boston trying to force a game 7, but Miami's at home, and you would figure that they would try to play with a lot more energy. And like you said, I don't know where Jimmy Butler was until about 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter of that game,
Right.
decided to show up. Duncan Robinson, again, had 2 pretty good looks for 3
Great looks.
to not only add on to the Heat's lead, but to, potentially take the lead and tie the game at times. Duncan Robinson had wide open looks. And well, here we are, game 7. And, no matter how long this series went, Matt, the finals was always going to start on June 1st,
Right.
this next Thursday. So, the question becomes, is this good? Is this good for the Nuggets to wait this long? I know you wanted to take care of the Lakers. You wanted to basically put them out of their misery and just just chill for a week and a half. But is this, kind of, at least here in Colorado, Matt, shades of the Rockies back in 07, where they swept their way to the World Series, swept their way through Philadelphia, swept their way through Arizona, and then they ended up getting swept by, ironically enough, Boston in the World Series. Is it good? Is it good to have this long of break? Because I look at it as kind of a double-edged sword, because you want guys to rest. You want these little nicks and knacks to heal up. Jamal and Joker's wrist, Aaron Gordon's ribs, stuff like that will be pretty good to go during this break. And now these guys are playing until tomorrow. So whoever wins this series, Matt, is only going to have really 2 full days of rest. Tuesday and Thursday you play, or excuse me, Tuesday and Wednesday you play Thursday. Is this good for the Nuggets? And is it also good for them to play a team coming off only 2 days rest and fighting till game 7?
I got into a quote unquote barstool argument or conversation at Old Chicago, this very conversation. And it was like, to me, it's the way the Nuggets, and you saw Nikola, I'm sure you've seen it, and all the other people got an opportunity to see what he said pre-game, or I don't even know what that was, a post press or pre press conference or whatever he had. I don't know if it was yesterday or Friday when he did it, but when he said, they're not done. They want one more. I think this Denver Nuggets team has that championship mindset, and they've had it from day one, and it's just built, and then it gets to where they are now. And I think mentally and physically, they were at their end of their gas tank. They need this refuel. I think they're focused. I don't think there's going to be a big letdown, and especially if it is Boston. Boston's not a good home team anyway. They haven't. What are they, like, barely 500 at home during these playoffs or something like that? They're not very good home team. So if it is Boston, they got home court, And the argument I was getting, like, that we lose that home court, or we don't want to go to Boston play. Boston can't they don't play well at home. I still think Boston's a flawed team. And I mean, Miami is kind of like the Rockies are, like the Rockies were. They caught fire, got hot at the end, or got hot at the right time, and just rode that wave of flames all the way until they burnt out. And I think I don't think it's going to matter for the Denver Nuggets. I really don't. Even if they drop that first one in Boston, I still think they can get a game there, whether it's game 2, game 3, game 4. And then also you coming here. I don't think Miami wants to come here. Miami doesn't want to come here after that grueling 7-game series. I think it. I'm not going to say that I give the Nuggets a tip of the cap and say they're going to sweep both of these teams. I think Boston definitely is going to be the tougher matchup, just because overall of what Boston can do and bring, but they're way too inconsistent. And then you got the Heat. Like I said, they're flaming, and I think that flame going to run out? I thought it was out yesterday. I thought that flame was done. I thought Boston. I mean, we were even talking through message and on Twitter, thinking it was over. So I think the Nuggets will be okay, even if they do drop a game at home, even if they do drop that first game in Boston. I still think that they're going to be fine, because Nikola Jokic, man, I've believed in that dude all season, and I still do. And I think if they got him focused and playing the way he has been, and just mentally where this team is right now, I think it's okay, and it's going to survive. Being off until June 1st and not playing. And that's the argument too. Like I got into with the dude I was talking to at the Old Chicago. He was saying, well, they haven't played basketball. I'm like, oh, so you want them to play a game 7 against LeBron James's Lakers? Is that what you want them to keep doing? You want them to be playing games right now? That we don't want to be in this position to where the Miami Heat are in. We don't want anything to do with that. So I would rather have the break and the rest than be chancing LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way I was looking at it too. So I'm fine with it. I think they're okay. I think they'll be okay. But that's not to say that they won't drop one game here and drop a game there. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. But I think overall they're mentally stable, and then this physically will get them back to where they need to be physically.
Yeah, and as Coach Malone said, he doesn't want them to get that kind of that winning softness. He still wants that mentality, like you said, of we're not finished, we're not satisfied. So, yeah, I mean, I guess looking at it from the outside in, Matt, you would think all this time off, you got time to get distracted, you got time to. I mean, I know I would probably be at Ball Arena. I'd be over at the SAC 24/7, Matt. Unless you have a family or something like that, like Bruce Brown even said in the media day the other day, saying, I hang out almost a half hour, 45 minutes after each game, after each practice. Some guys obviously leave a little early because they got families or whatnot. I'm assuming by that comment, Bruce maybe doesn't have a family, by choice or it hasn't happened yet, right. Whatever the case may be, he gets to stay an extra 45 minutes and just hang out and joke around. It seems like the camaraderie of this team is really tight knit. They did a little thing on Aaron Gordon saying, he went from being the number 1 option in Orlando, Matt, to being what can be considered the 3rd through 6th option at this point on this Nuggets team. And I think we talked about this last week, and that was just the dirty little stuff that AG does. Whether think about this, Matt, through 3 series now, he has had the task of guarding Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, and now LeBron James in 3 straight series. And you wonder why he has bruised ribs or whatever his rib injury is. And not only that, Matt, he has to put his offensive game kind of on the back burner because you get so tired out guarding these dudes that your offense just kind of has to take a back seat. And we saw game 4, Matt, Aaron Gordon poured in 22 points.
Yeah. Yep. Aaron Gordon, what he's done, this you said it all there, but he, man, I don't know if there's and like an award that you can give, like a playoff. I don't know what it is, but how important that dude is you just, it's hard to put in words if you really understand what he's doing and how he has to, and he's still contributing on the offensive end. That series, the Phoenix and the Minnesota series were the ones that really caught my eye because he worked his ass off in that Minnesota series, and in the Phoenix series as well too. Those two series, I think and I'm not taking anything away from the Lakers series, but for me, those two series was where I was like, God, man, I'm glad you never thought of when you brought him in here, because you remember you traded Gary Harris away for him, RJ Hampton, who I loved RJ Hampton. When he came in here, the vibe that he had and everything, the way he was rolling, I love that about him. And I wasn't like, oh, I was like, oh shucks, I wish we could have seen that what we have in that dude. But Gary Harris, man, that dude was a big part, a big piece of this team, and it would be awesome for him to be experienced and be a part of this. But it is what it is. His defense, Aaron Gordon's defense, and I'm not gonna say he wasn't looked at as a defensive guy in Orlando, but like you said, he was the number one offensive guy, or the number one option, I should say. Dunk contest winner and then runner up, got screwed in the dunk contest, whatever you want to call it. His defense, man, you just can't say enough about that dude's defense and the people that like you said it already. It's just so I wish there was. I don't know if they're going. I can't. I don't know what his contract situation is, but if they would, I don't know how that works. But if I'm Calvin Booth, if Matt Mascarenas is Calvin Booth, I'm like saying, hey, what do you want, Eric? What do you want, AG? You want to be here forever? You want to? You want me to get you a Lambo? You want me to get you? I don't know what they do, but give this guy something, because my God, you know how running backs, Terrell Davis, and he bought after he won he rushed for over 2,000 yards. He bought. I can't remember what he bought the offensive lineman, but something needs to be done for Aaron Gordon. Something needs to be done for him.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up the dunk contest. That's why he chose to wear number 50 in Denver when he got traded, because he felt like that's what his score should have been,
right?
The dunk contest, and obviously 50 is the highest score you can get in the dunk contest. So, we've seen Aaron Gordon. He would get you 12 to 15 points. I think there was a game, I think he only had like 7 or 8, but his defense on these guys, and you may wonder, defense, LeBron had 40 in game 4. That's just, I think that was an anomaly, Matt, because it was game 4. LeBron didn't want to go out being swept. It was just one of those games, and it was an even game, Matt. So Anthony Davis was a no-show in game 4. So he only plays on odd games. So we knew that about AD. We were wondering which AD was going to show up, and it turns out it was the even AD. So like you said, Aaron Gordon, the defense he's been putting up, and yeah, they need to do something for him. Maybe have like a private dunk contest and just throw up 50s. I don't know. I don't know what you do for AG, but yeah, get that man. And not only that, Matt, these guys, even when they do talk to the media, it's, like, it's just deflection. And I think they get that all off, and a good deflection, by the way. I think they get that from Jokic, Matt, because every time they say Jokic, praise to Jokic, and he always deflects it and gives it to his teammates or coaching or
the equipment manager.
Yeah. So
he wins Western Conference MVP, and his second sentence involves the congratulating the equipment manager, man. You just can't. He's not interesting though. That's not interesting though, Mike.
Not compelling at all.
It's not compelling at all.
Not boring. Compelling. Pretty boring. Yeah, we'll get into that here in a second. But do you think that Jamal would have had a strong case for Western Conference MVP? Because I know Jokic could honestly care less. What would have meant for Jamal to get that trophy? I know. Maybe it was kind of I haven't seen this float around anywhere, Matt, but I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe that was just a makeup MVP because Jokic probably should have won 3 straight. And by the way, how's the MVP doing in the Eastern Conference right now?
Oh, God.
Do you think that was kind of a makeup call, pretty much?
I was wondering. I thought that same thing, Mike. when they were doing the Western Conference MVP, I was hoping that they would, because I felt when you said that right there, I felt the same way about Jamal Murray. They give this dude the West, and he deserved it. It's not like you can say he didn't deserve it, because he did deserve it. Nikola Jokic, there was 3 games where he didn't score a point in like 3 quarters or something like that, something crazy like that, or in 4th quarters there was some issues where Nikola wasn't scoring. He couldn't make a bucket. He was still, contributing, but he wasn't scoring, and that's when Jamal picked up the slack, went off 37 points. He scored was it 20 something, 17, something like that in that 4th quarter, 3rd quarter, whatever it was. But I felt like if they give Jamal I felt like he more than deserved it, and they should have given it to him. And then it was like you said, it would have gave him a boost of. I don't think he needs confidence, but it would have given them that extra oomph and that extra, I think it's validation, I guess. I don't think he needs validation, but it would have meant a lot to him. You know what I'm saying? I do agree with you on that 100%. And then going into the finals matchup, it would have got him going. But at the same time, if that's something Jamal values, it could even inspire him more to go out there and go out for this, to try to get this finals MVP. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and ball hog Jamal, because there was a couple times he was ball hog Jamal, but I think it would have given him that little bit of oomph, oh yeah, man, this is a long time coming. And it would have been so special to hand him that trophy. It definitely would have been great, but he still got that opportunity for that finals MVP.
Yeah. And, to average 30 plus in the Western Conference Finals, that's pretty special.
Definitely.
I think he was around 33, 6 and 5, 6 assists, 5 rebounds a game. And obviously Jokic averaging a triple double through the entire playoffs.
Right.
So you look at, but triple doubles aren't the thing anymore. So
no.
Who cares?
No.
Who cares? By the way, Al Horford was actually drafted in 2007, Matt.
36, huh? Yeah.
36 years old, yeah.
So that's 6 years less than LeBron, right? Something like that. 4 years.
Got that info. Yeah, I thought he was 4 years after LeBron. That's pretty crazy.
He's yeah. I mean, he's up there though. Like LeBron is an anomaly. He's one of one in that situation. We might have more players because the way he takes care of himself. So yeah, it's Al Horford's pretty old in NBA years.
Another sidebar here. Do you think if LeBron were to retire, and I know he's not going to, I know he came out and said he plans to play, he's going to have feet surgery. We all know he was, for, no pun intended, hobbled in that. So you could tell he wasn't the same. He comes out and scores 30 something in that first half. And everyone's making a big deal that he scored 30 something and a half when Jamal accomplished that feat no longer than 2 games ago,
Right.
But it was a big deal because of, he's almost 40. Do you think that if he were to retire, Matt, that they would kind of skip the 4-year waiting process to get into the Hall of Fame? Do you think they would? Do you think they would follow the rules for that?
That would be interesting. That'd be something that'd be interesting to see. Because if they didn't do it for, they didn't do it for MJ. I don't think they did it for Shaq. Shaq's in the Hall of Fame, isn't he?
I think they waited there. I think it's 4 years in every sport.
3 or 4 years, I think. Something like that. I can't remember exactly. Well, the NBA gets so confused because everybody gets thrown in there.
Well, Popovich went in last year or the year before, and he's still coaching. So coaches, I don't think wait, but players they have to wait a certain amount of time. But I'm wondering if they'll obviously waive the wait if LeBron were to retire.
Well, but it's LeBron, yeah.
But I mean, I can see that they wouldn't because, again, like you said, everyone gets into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. It's not.
I think we're on the ballot too. I think we're on the ballot.
We should be. We touch on basketball a little bit, so we should be able to get in pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not first ballot.
No,
but
we're up there though. We're in waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled some strings. Yeah,
it's crazy to wonder that. And again, he didn't. Obviously, the whole headliner. And if you haven't caught this video, people go watch the DNVR video of the receipts kept and why Nuggets fans are so ticked off at this national national narrative that's out there. We just heard here locally Chris Mannix go on a local radio station here, the writer for Sports Illustrated, who was on the Rich Eisen show last week, saying the Nuggets aren't boring, or the Nuggets are boring, not compelling, and Jamal Murray, a good player, not very interesting. Michael Porter Jr., excellent player, not very interesting. So if you have time, go catch the. It should be posted now, but go catch that Chris Mannix. He was on the late afternoon show, Matt, and they were kind of civil with him.
Right.
And then he goes to the mid-morning show that's on from from 10 to noon. And man, they just laid into him on that one. So if you haven't, go catch that, and it's pretty hilarious.
Oh, it's awesome. I was shocked because it was Dempsey, Ches. It was Dempsey and Ches. It was a Chris Dempsey show.
Yeah, and then
Vic
came in.
And then Vic came in because he started in on the altitude Comcast, the altitude.
Which I get. Which that's I get it. It's been happening for the last 5 years, but I still think it's kind of big news, Matt, because I mean, you hear of the the sideways that people have to watch games, the illegal ways that people have to watch, and I'm not going to say I'm in that group, but I'm in that group.
I mean, yeah, that's what. But the thing about it is, though, Mike, with all that, is that it happens all over the place. Like Vic and Chris were saying, it happens all. There's issues with the Bally Sports. I think that was in Miami and maybe Phoenix or Arizona, the RMS network, or not the RMS, but the RSN, or the ones the Rockies used to be on, the AT&T or all that stuff, that has problems. The Yes Network has had problems, I guess. There's a lot of issues out there. And in a lot of people's cases too, like I've had DirecTV, you had to get a certain sports package to get altitude. And Comcast, I think, was the same way too. So there's a lot of people that, even when Comcast did it and blah, that didn't get it because there was an extra charge that you had to get with it. And we all found different ways. I spent a lot of time at sports bars. I listened to the call on the radio. There's a lot of ways you can get your Nuggets, your Avalanche games on. And like you said, there's ways to do it. There's with the streaming stuff now. The thing that pisses me off about all this is that all this time and stuff being wasted, and there's not an app. There's not an app. I would gladly. ESPN has that app. I know ESPN's huge or whatever.
And the ESPN Plus app is. I had to get rid of it because it's terrible.
No, I have it because of the fights.
Well, yeah, but because I tried to get it this year because Avs, hockey went back to ESPN, right. So the Avs were on a lot of ESPN.
Yep.
Plus ESPN Plus. But they get blacked out,
right?
And that's and good for the. So I have a love-hate relationship with the Cronkies because let's face it, they're an excellent ownership group. If the Nuggets win this year, it'll be 3 straight championships for the Cronkies, man. It'll be the LA Rams, the Colorado Avalanche, and the Denver Nuggets if the Nuggets were to win this season. Yeah. But they obviously own altitude, Matt. They own everything that altitude can do, is on, whatever. And this is where I have that hate part of the relationship because they know how diehard their fans are, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And again, obviously the people on altitude are going to say it's Comcast's fault. Obviously Comcast is going to say it's altitude's fault. I mean, let me just say this, put your Cronky hat on. If you were the Cronkies, would you say, man, we just got to get this content out for the fans? Whatever, put aside whatever Comcast is doing and just say, hey, we're just going to put them on, we'll pay whatever it costs to get them on Comcast. And again, I don't know the intertwinings of it all, but if you were a Cronky, would you just say, just put them on? Screw it. It's been 5 years. We've won. If the Nuggets win, it'll be back-to-back championships for 2 of our teams. Just put them on because for a lot of people, man, and it is true, like they haven't been able to watch his team and last year's Avs team until the playoffs.
Right. I mean, if I was Cronky and I'm a nice guy and I'm a man of the people, yeah, I would. Yeah, let's just put on. But I would be focusing on an app. That's what I would be doing.
I would pay for an altitude app in a heartbeat.
I would cancel my ESPN Plus because you pay $10.99 or whatever it is for it.
Already did
I
that.
would gladly pay $15.99, $14, whatever it was for an altitude app. I would.
Yeah. And then I don't know if it'd have casting capabilities, but you could cast it right to your TV.
Yeah, you could definitely. Like, there's all those, and there's so much more stuff you can put on that app that Altitude offers. There's golf stuff. There's all kinds of things that they can run their radio show, TV shows. There's so many things they can stream on that on an app. I just don't know why they haven't done that yet. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, and the morning show on the radio already is simulcasted on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's so many things you can do. Maybe it is in the works. Maybe we're
maybe that's why they haven't done that yet, because they got an app coming. I don't know.
Yeah, and we could have used an app at least last year to watch the Avs team. But yeah, I mean, for some people, they can't, just I don't know if can't afford is the right term, but they just can't drop Comcast and switch TV providers in a willy. I mean, they can't add what is it? Not Evoca. Evoca is defunct now, but the other one,
that was
Fubu.
Fubu.
They just can't up and add Fubu to a streaming, whatever budget you have for streaming. They just can't up and go. I don't know what the circus, and maybe they just can't go to a local sports bar and watch. Some people just don't have those capabilities, but I get it. There is other ways to do it, whether it's streaming illegally or whatever the case may be. Some people just don't have the capabilities to do all those things. So I get where that side comes from. And again, like our mantra is here on the Wheelhouse, Matt. We, all reaction, zero research. So we're just going off of what we hear pretty much. And I don't know what the number, I don't know if Chris Mannix pulled those numbers out of his butt. I don't know if Vic pulled those numbers out from wherever, but I'm not going to go in and dig into the numbers, but I do know, that there are people out there who just don't have the capabilities or resources to go find other ways to watch these teams.
100%. And I take what I've always felt like this. I always take what a person or people would say. And I don't know Vic Lombardi for nothing. I never met him. He could be a great, trustworthy, seems like a nice, trustworthy guy.
Nice man.
He works for Altitude. Those people work for Altitude. So of course they're going to bang the drum for their company they work for. Of course they're going to defend. Of course they're going to, they get information from their company. Of course they're going to defend the company, the people that they work for. And so I always take that with a grain of salt, But my biggest thing is like you said, it's the people. Like there's people that cannot afford $80 for a Fubu subscription, and that's what it is. It's $80 for a Fubu subscription, and I don't even. And it's not Fubu like the pants, but it's it's $80 for that. Plus, you don't even get TNT. You don't get to some other channels on that. I looked into it. Then if you go to DirecTV. You go DirecTV. I had DirecTV for so long, and it was we were paying almost over $100 for that extra sports a thing just to watch the Nuggets, just to watch the Avs, but in my case, the Nuggets. And I'm looking at that, like you said, that's tough for people. And there's some people that will do it. There's some people that can do it, but they don't do other things too, But it's so tough if you have a streaming service. Right now, I got Sling. It's got the best mix of sports and the stuff that I like to watch. And then I have the ESPN app. And there's other apps I have too out there that are $5-10 that I can stream stuff. But that's the way we're going. Like the fact that if it's not in the works, there should be. I want an app. I could care less if they settle their little debate. I want an app. That's what I want.
And let's face it, most people are watching stuff on their phones anyway. Phones,
exactly.
Gizmos, gadgets, whatever it is, people are more than likely watching on their devices anyway. Mm-hmm. And again, if you have casting capabilities, you could just cast it right to your TV and there it is, signed, sealed, delivered, right there, all for you. So maybe there is, maybe there isn't, who knows? And I guess if you were an Altitude employee, and again, if you're watching, from another state, obviously you may have heard or may not have heard Altitude Sports, which airs all of the Nuggets, Avalanche, Rapids, Mammoth, whatever. I don't know if the Mammoth are on there, but again, the app could provide the people who are like, man, how do I how do I catch a Rapids game on TV? Like, big soccer fans, I'm sure it's
Right.
no disrespect to the Rapids. I'm sure it's not that much to get into a Rapids game, but throw the Rapids on there, throw the Mammoth on there, whatever,
There's so much they could
so
do.
much you can do. But yeah, so
That,
Altitude, who carries the Avs and Nuggets primarily, the two big teams here in Denver, are not able to watch on Comcast and some other cable packages. If you have DirecTV, like Matt said, you have to have a certain package to be able to watch it. And I don't think that was the case for Comcast, Matt. I think they were just on there.
yeah, I think so too.
I don't think you needed a certain thing. And when NFL season more approaches, Matt, we'll get into the holy crap
Right.
that is all of these different, from Amazon to Peacock and all this other stuff. So we'll get into that as the NFL season draws near. But
That's crazy. That is crazy, Mike. I've looked at it a little bit. Oh my God. It's my head's spinning.
see, even Peacock, like I have Amazon, what is
Yeah.
it? Amazon Prime TV or whatever it is, and Peacock, just because that's where The Office went.
Mhm.
I literally only have Peacock to watch Office reruns.
See,
And it's pretty cool too because they have the supersized episodes, so
right.
they have content in there that's usually either in deleted scenes or never shown before, so it's pretty cool.
And Peacock's great for my family because I watch wrestling, and that's on Peacock. And then my wife watches. So both my wife and I watch our soap operas on Peacock. Both of our soap operas are on Peacock. So that's huge for us.
Yeah. So tons of ways you can do it. And again, if you work for Altitude, you're going to stick up for that company. If you work for Comcast, you're going to stick up for that company. And again, if you own Altitude like the Cronkies do, I mean, I doubt you're listening or watching, but you gotta just put for the fans. You just got to do it, man. I mean, if the Nuggets win this season, you got to put them. You got to just figure this out. Be like, yo, we'll just pay whatever Comcast here. Like the fans have missed 5+ years of watching these teams, 2 championships. We just have to put them on.
Remember when the Nuggets and the Rockies were on Channel 2 or Channel 20?
26, I remember.
There were 20. I remember watching them on Channel 2. It was when the Rockies. It was when Drew Goodman.
Yeah, that was a Fox Sports Rocky Mountain.
Was it?
Yeah, they were both on 26.
Yeah. Okay. And I think even Dave Logan called Nuggets games.
So I remember on TV it was Drew. It was Drew Goodman.
It was Drew.
And on radio, I remember listening to Jerry Schimmel.
Yes.
Back in the day.
Jumanji.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was like, I remember. I don't know. I don't know why we can't. I don't get it.
Again, yeah.
I don't get it.
If we were in those meetings, not only would I be scared to say anything, but nobody would probably listen anyway.
I'd be the guy getting the coffee in those meetings.
Yeah.
What do you need? More cream or sugar? Okay, I'll be right back.
You want some sour cream on your bagel? Whatever it is. That's where
just let me watch it. And another thing too with the Altitude guys, like I heard that they came out pushing that FUBU, the FOBU. I'm not even know if I'm saying it right. They came out pushing that, and what I heard is they got free subscriptions. And how the hell can you push somebody when you're getting a free subscription and you're pushing that like that? That rubbed me the wrong way when I remember that. And that's why I went with Evoca. I was on the Evoca band. That was the best way to do it. Evoca got me through that for the first part of the season until they went debunked.
Which is weird that they went.
It was odd. Those people were so nice.
They were the both local sports radio stations here in Denver had commercials for Evoca too.
Yep.
And now it's crazy that Altitude had commercials for Evoca to promote watching the Avs and Nuggets. That was kind of crazy. Yeah. But maybe Evoca spent all their money to get those.
Maybe that could be what happened.
When I was in Florida, Matt, and I was trying to sign up for FUBU, whatever it is, and like when you would go to sign up, it would take you to some weird page, and it was like all in like Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So then I couldn't navigate how to actually. It would literally switch languages at a click of a button, and then you just got lost.
Yeah, I did not like the FUBU. I tried because you have the trial, like they give you like a 14-day or 7-day trial. I didn't like it. It was not for me. I was not going to spend $80 for that freaking app. No way, Jose.
Yeah. So luckily the Nuggets are now on ESPN, so we get to hear Mark Jackson and Jeff. It was kind of funny watching the Eastern Conference Finals the other day when Stan Van Gundy actually referenced it, and for whatever reason, I forgot that they were brothers, and I was like, because you're
They
like,
don't look alike, do they?
no, because even when Jeff Van Gundy was a head coach in the league for a while, and then Stan Van Gundy came into the league and was coaching the Magic, and you were like, oh, they're related, and then. Yeah, I think it was either game 5 or 6 on TNT, and Stan Van Gundy's like, well, this is the only time I have really acknowledged my brother saying he was right on national TV. I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Jeff is Stan's brother. Who do you like better, by the way? Is it SVG or is it JVG?
I like SVG because he was the Orlando coach, right?
Yeah, I
I
think he was
like
a
him.
Miami's coach too before Spoelstra. I think
Yeah, he was
he
there,
was
huh?
somewhere in between
Because Jeff coached the Knicks for a while, didn't he?
Knicks and Houston, and I think there was another team in there too.
Trying to think of where was it. Sacramento? No. My Phoenix? No. I don't know, but I like the bigger one, the heavier one.
Stan, yeah.
Because I remember Dwight Howard was doing an impression of him, and he was like, he was screaming because and that's how it was funny how he was talking about how he goes, get the rebound, get the block, or pass the ball, and the way Dwight Howard. I would say I like Stan a little. If I would to pick one, it'd be Stan.
So Jeff Van Gundy started in 1989, at least in the NBA. He was a Knicks assistant coach from 89 to 96. And then in 96, he took over and was the head coach from 96 to 2001, took a couple years off, and then was the Houston head coach from 03 to 07.
Wow.
So that was Jeff's tenure as a head coach of 2 teams. And Stan Van Gundy in the NBA, he started in 95 as a Miami Heat assistant coach, 95 to 03, took over in 03 to 05. So, yeah, right before Spoelstra in 05-06. And he was 1 year short of an NBA championship because 06 is when they got Shaq and all that. So he was Miami's head coach from 03 to 05, Orlando from 07 to 12. And then he finished, Detroit for 4 years. I forgot he was in Detroit.
I forgot about Detroit.
From 14 to 18. And how about this? Just 2 years ago, he was a head coach. 20 and 21, he was the New Orleans Pelicans head coach.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either, but there is SVG's coaching resume.
Wow. And
I don't remember Detroit or New Orleans.
I don't remember. I vaguely remember Detroit, but I don't remember New Orleans at all. So is CBS, ESPN covering the whole finals, or do they go back and forth?
CBS, ABC?
ABC, sorry.
Well, ESPN owns ABC, so
right. So ABC/ESPN. Do they go?
They have the whole finals.
They have the whole finals.
Yeah, because I would hope that when it went back to the East Coast, that TNT would take over, just like they do with the Eastern and West. Obviously, the Western Conference Finals is ESPN, ABC. The Eastern is all TNT because TNT is headquartered in Atlanta, so they always do the Eastern Conference Finals. But I wish it would switch off in the finals.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, those last 2 games, I turned off the sound and I turned on the call on the radio, and I just paused I just kind of matched up the TV with the sound because I could not stand it anymore.
It's crazy because game one was bad.
Game 1 was horrible.
It was like watching a Lakers flash. It was like watching the altitude of the Lakers in LA. And obviously altitude locally, they only do the first 2 rounds. So they don't get the conference finals. They do the pre and post game show, with Hastings and Katie Wingy, by the way, is one of my faves now.
She's awesome. And you heard her call the game?
Yeah, she's excellent.
Great, man, on the radio and on TV. I love her. She's one of the best that we got. We're lucky to have her here. Her and Romy are tops.
Yeah, no rings, by the way. And so you have that's all.
If the Nuggets win, she'll have one, huh?
Yeah, because even the radio guys got Avs rings. So Scotty actually has a ring though from his Pistons days.
And doesn't Scotty has a Super Bowl ring too? A couple of them.
I think he was talking about that. I don't think they got one.
They didn't get one?
They didn't get one. I don't think they got 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 one. because he was saying it was. I think I heard him say it was weird he got an Avs one, but he never got a Broncos one.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. And he called. It's weird because he called the Broncos games, but he never called just because he works at altitude. Maybe because it's an altitude thing, and Cronkies are like, yeah, whatever. Here's another. Just make all
There's
the
an
races.
extra ring.
Just make them all.
That
But
that that sucks, man, because he was a big part of that call.
yeah, it was. Was it 97, 96, 97. So I would have been, 10, 11 years old at the time. So I didn't really put together that Hastings was a basketball guy at the time. So
Yeah,
now looking back, it was kind of weird that a basketball guy was a color guy for football games.
right.
He was still excellent. He was still awesome on those calls.
Well, I mean, now they got Rick Lewis. I mean, I love Rick
Oh,
Lewis, but
I can't do it.
I mean, Lewis and Florax, come on, man. What are we doing here?
Did Florwax ever come back?
No, I don't know what happened to him. The Masters.
Yes.
I
The
don't
doctor
know.
do that now.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to Florax. He used to live up here on the golf course I play, which is funny. But anyway,
I remember
yeah,
his disappearance too. But yeah, especially when Elway did the helicopter and Hastings was like, "You think this old man doesn't want to
yes,
win this game?"
exactly. Exactly. Iconic calls. Iconic.
But yeah, and it's cool to hear Hastings. At least he gets to do the radio now with Cause, so that's pretty cool. He gets to
Yeah.
travel with the team.
I don't listen to a lot of other NBA radio calls, but I think, in my opinion, Cause is the best. Jason Kosminski is the best.
Yeah, I liked when Schimmel did it too. So I don't know.
I liked when Schimmel did it too. I won't discredit. I loved Schimmel. But you could tell he was a baseball guy. I mean, he was a baseball coach. He coached Metro, or was it DU? No, he coached Metro, I think.
Well, now he does the Rockies anyway. So
And now he does the Rockies. So he was always a baseball guy, I felt like. But I love Jason Kosminski.
yeah,
I love the way he calls games.
yeah. So we will see what happens as time moves forwards with all the streaming and cable disputes and all that. So pretty crazy that that hasn't been, I guess, finalized or come to an agreement or whatever you want to call it. We're still waiting for that day to come. Maybe it'll happen if the Nuggets win and they're just like, screw it, put them on, whatever. But we'll still be waiting for that.
I'm hoping they got an app in the back pocket and they're going to drop it on us this summer or next season.
Yeah. Do what we do. Just drop them.
Drop it like it's hot.
Pod drop them, blog drop them, whatever. Speaking of which, go to e5280sports.com. So much content up there now. One of our new teammates, Daniel, he is he's just writing his life away at this point.
On
just
fire, man.
Yeah. About to put up a last night's recap. So if you want to relive that, and also always clips of the post-game press conferences for each of those games as well. And as soon as we find out who wins, either me or him, or maybe you, Matt, will put up a finals preview of whoever's going to be facing. And so we got a lot of things. And if you did miss it, one of our newest teammate, Becky, she dropped her first pod with us last night. So that's Becky's Corner. You don't want to miss that. And also Nick Parks, he wasn't able to get his quick hits up this week, but also him and one of our other new guys too, Chase Hollins, they are a big hockey writer. So stay tuned for whatever the NHL final will be, the Stanley Cup final will be. Well, it's Florida, Matt. Florida's one of the, I don't know where the Panthers came from, just like the Miami Heat, these South Beach teams. But at least Florida wasn't effing around, Matt. They just took care of Carolina, just really, for pun intended, if you want, swept them away in the Eastern Conference Finals. And now Dallas is kind of doing what Boston is doing. And Vegas had a 3-0 lead. Now it's all of a sudden 3-2. So Dallas making a little bit of a comeback. It has been done in hockey. And again, we're all reaction, no research. So I don't know who in the NHL has come back 3-0, but Dallas might do it.
I'm trying to think. Who would you think you think Chicago would pull something like that?
Back in maybe like 10 years ago, Chicago would.
I'm trying to think. Yeah. See, I'm trying to go back into my hockey days when I'm trying to remember, because this, man, I've been paying attention to Florida because I got on them pretty early and watching what they've been doing and just been just kind of like, oh man, they're playing good hockey and I snuck in on when Dallas was getting their butts kicked by Vegas I think there were like 4-0 in the second period, and people were leaving. I was watching that a little bit, and who is that? Who's the superstar for Dallas that's kind of a butthead?
All of the above.
All of the above, exactly. So I was kind of like grimacing.
Was it Ben, the captain who cross-checked the dude in the throat while he was on the ground? Yeah,
Yep.
Ben.
Yep.
And he's the captain too.
Yeah. That dude, that dude was punk. That was punk ass hockey. I was like, okay, hey, I didn't know punk hockey. We didn't know we had some more punk ass hockey. Okay, this is kind of punk ass hockey is my kind of hockey. So I might start watching, especially we're not gonna have basketball until June 1st. So might as well watch something other than wrestling.
There you go. So here are some of the things. A year in series losing after trailing 3-0, 1939 Stanley Cup semifinals. So that would have been the second round. Let's see here. Maybe this is the wrong one.
1939.
1939. It says helmets. The loser after trailing 0-3 was the Rangers. The winner after leading 3-0 was the Boston Bruins. Bruins won in Game 7 in triple overtime. Wow. So New York pushed that to a Game 7. The 1945 Stanley Cup final, the Red Wings were down 3-0 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Red Wings nearly got revenge as they blown a 3-0 lead. 1975 Stanley Cup semifinals, the New York Islanders were down 3-0 to the Philadelphia Flyers, and the Islanders come back 3-0 and win the round. So couple teams, and here it is, the Chicago Blackhawks, Matt, 2011 Western Conference quarterfinals. So the first round, Blackhawks were down 3-0 to Vancouver. Canucks won Game 7 in overtime after the Blackhawks tied it. And 2011, Detroit was down 3-0 to San Jose, and they forced a Game 7. So I think this is just forcing Game 7s.
Yeah. That's that. I kind of remember those ones. I remember. I felt like Chicago did it too. I thought, I know the Red Wings came back. I feel like they did it sometime. They came back from 3-1 and won. And
so of the 205 previous teams to face a 3-0 deficit in a best-of-7 series in the Stanley Cup playoffs, only 22 had extended it to 6 games. Only 4 teams have won it. So 4 teams have come back. No one has ever come back to win the conference or its equivalent in the NHL. So it hasn't been done. So Dallas might be the first to do it in a conference final. But it has been done in previous rounds.
That's crazy. Couldn't have picked a better team to do it too, huh?
Yeah, I hope Florida wins it all because I don't like either of the Western Conference teams.
Me neither. I've been down with Florida, especially with all the love Brooksy's been getting. Brooks Koepka, that golfer that won the PGA Championship this past week.
The Heat gave him a jersey.
Yep. They gave him a jersey. He was there at the Heat game. He's all over the place, and he's playing golf tournament too. He's got to play a golf tournament, so yeah, he's all over the place.
Yeah. So, and I'm actually hopefully got it right here. So NHL 3-0 series comebacks, 1942 Stanley Cup final. Maple Leafs did come back and beat the Red Wings in the 1942 Stanley Cup final. So yeah, it hasn't happened in a conference final, but it has happened in a Stanley Cup final. 42, which I think is the last time Maple Leafs won anything, over the Red Wings. Red Wings had a 3-0 lead in the Stanley Cup final. 1975, the Islanders come back from a 3-0 deficit to defeat the Penguins. 2010 in the semifinals, Flyers came back, I think we mentioned this, from a 3-0 deficit to beat the Boston Bruins. And 2014 was the last time that it happened, Matt, in which the Kings came back and beat the San Jose Sharks. So only 4 teams. There's your 4 teams that ever have come back, but it never happened in a conference final. So again, Dallas might be the first team to do it.
Wow. So much. There's a lot of what do you think that is? We got the Heat and the Boston Celtics going to Game 7 after the Heat were up 3-0, and then we got Dallas and Vegas. That's 2 examples this season alone in the conference final. What do you think attributed to that? How does that happen? Do these teams lose focus? Does one team just get go like Jaylen Brown said? Don't let us get one. How does that happen? Does the team just catch fire? You can't close out the game? Because everybody thought the Nuggets were going, we'd be in this situation with the Lakers, but fortunately they didn't even let them get one and come back and do the gentleman sweep thing. How does that happen? Lack of focus, physicality, what?
Well, in the Nuggets case, I think they're just the better team. The better team always prevails. and I think the Heat have been, and then, the cliche is, especially with these play-in games, the Heat have been in the playoffs for the last month, Matt, because
Right.
they had to fight and scratch their way to even get to the play-in game. And don't forget, they lost their
Yep.
first play-in game to Atlanta.
To Atlanta.
And then they beat Chicago to even get the 8th seed. And that Chicago game was pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
And, they just caught fire. They took care of Milwaukee, the best team in the NBA this season, record-wise. They took care of them. And then in the next round, the Heat were, I don't know what the Heat were, or excuse me, the Knicks. I don't know what the Knicks were, but they just seemed kind of not into it.
They were just there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And for a fifth seed to, I don't know. I don't know about the Knicks. Again,
the Knicks were, in my opinion, other than the Lakers, the Knicks were the other team that was getting a lot of undeserved love.
Well, it's New York, so.
And it's New York, it's LA, yeah, 100%. But I didn't feel like the Knicks deserved as much as the love they were getting. But Knicks fans are fickle as hell, because it was like one day, oh, this guy's the best, Jalen Brunson, this guy's a blah, 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 blah. And then the next game, this guy sucks, this guy's awful, Julius Randle can't lead a team, blah, blah, blah. Then the next game, oh, they're the best. I couldn't, it was making me sick. I was so sick of that series. I couldn't watch that series because I was so sick of it.
Yeah. And honestly, if it came down to a Knicks-Lakers NBA Finals, man, honestly, I could see the Lakers sweeping that Knicks team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the Knicks were just kind of there. Miami took care of them. And now, Miami against Boston, the number 2 seed in the, I think just the Heat had so much, and, they say that momentum doesn't carry over from game to game, but they did have so much momentum. They've been having to fight and scratch and just battle their way to where they are. Maybe it's just running out at this point, and we're finally seeing who the better team is. And Boston, they weren't the number 2 seed for no reason. The Nuggets weren't the first seed for no reason.
Right.
And it's funny because a lot of people think that the seeding determines home court advantage. No, it's actually the regular season record determines home court advantage in the NBA Finals. Boston had 58 regular season wins. Nuggets only had 53. So to be the first seed, man, have 53 wins in the West, and Boston's only the second seed, and they had 58. Kind of a large discrepancy there, but let's face it, Nuggets took about a month off.
For sure.
At the end of the season there. So, but Nuggets will not have home court advantage if Boston wins. That's why a lot of people are pulling for Miami, not only because, the Nuggets will probably take care of either team in the NBA final. I personally, watching these teams, Matt,
yeah,
I'm really not scared of either of them. And I know you should be. You should respect your opponent, but they match up pretty well with either team. If you leave, neither team is really that physical. I mean, I think last week, Matt, I said Jimmy Butler's really the only guy that'll drive into the lane. And then now that you have Robert Williams standing there, I mean, he was scared to go in. And they said Jimmy Butler had 9 blocked shots in this series. He has a shot blocked 9 times in this series, which if you're driving in on Robert Williams, let's face it, that dude's a tree anyway.
Right.
He's going to block a few shots. If it's Jimmy Butler or not. I mean, look at Jokic. He got a shot blocked a few times by AD. I mean, it happens. For sure.
I agree 100%. And we've talked about it when we watch these series. Like I've sent you a message like, hey, do you think the Nuggets have any of these two teams have anything for Joker? Because that's what it's going to boil down to. And this is why I think that Minnesota series, and I know everybody will say, oh, Anthony Edwards is a star in this league. Anthony Edwards scares me to death. And the fact that he's still in our conference and still on that team. And Minnesota, yeah, they're a jarbled up team. We really don't know what that team is going to look like. But I think that series was really important for this Nuggets team and their run. I think if you look at the Lakers, they slayed the dragon in the Lakers, but you look at that Minnesota series and that set the tone, in my opinion, for this Nuggets team. And when you go throughout the rest of the series, or the rest of the semifinals, then you have the Western Conference Finals. The Nuggets and Nikola Jokic in particular, those were the biggest defensive threats that they're going to have in Minnesota and the Lakers. You look over at Miami, You mentioned Robert Williams, or I'm sorry, this Miami Boston series. You mentioned Robert Williams, Bam. There's Robert Williams, Bam Adebayo. Do those guys scare you at all?
And I think I mentioned this last week. Bam is, I think, obviously a lot more athletic. He can jump, but even he looked a little timid yesterday. And they were missing shots that they probably normally don't miss. Jimmy had a couple floaters that just rimmed in and out. Like you can't, like, what are you supposed to do? Like I don't. And Robert Williams, I'm sure he's going to start on Joker if this were to happen. I guess this is my kind of look at it from a few days out now. Is they'll try to do what they normally do, a lot of pick and rolls, dribble handoffs to get Robert Williams on somebody else on a switch, and then get a smaller guy on Joker and just let him go to work.
Yeah, and
besides Robert Williams, I mean, Al Horford is
Al
he really
Horford's not going to Joel Embiid? No, no. I agree.
I think Robert Williams will obviously do what he does and get a couple block shots, a lot of rebounds, but is he might block Joker a few times, just like Anthony Davis did. But again, like Joker normally does, and it doesn't take him very long, he will figure out how to play these guys. And I'm sure he already has. Looking at watching these games, watching film, he probably already knows how he's going to play against Horford, Williams, and or Bam Adebayo. It's just, and Bam is literally the only guy on Miami who's tall enough.
Yeah.
And he's the only big guy you could throw at him.
Because what's going to exactly? I mean, you look at Boston. You said Robert Williams. The only thing he has going for him is that he's a big, thick tree, and that's what he's going to. He's going to plant himself there, and he's going to plant himself on Joker, and he's going to bang with him. The only comparison that you have that we've seen is maybe Karl Anthony Towns or the big Purr. That he's the only one that had anything that could be compared to him. But even he's a little light in the what Karl Anthony Towns is. He's a really light in the rear end. Like, you know what I'm saying when it comes to defensive turn. He's a little light there. Robert Williams isn't. He's thick. He's a tree. So that's the only thing he has going for him. They're going to run Horford at him, but Joker is going to destroy both of those guys because he's freaking Joker. You look on the other end, like you mentioned, Bam Adebayo is the only guy that can run. They're not going to run Strus at him. Strus could be the only other guy that they could do.
They don't really have a backup center.
They don't. And Kevin Love is he injured? He's not going to go to
rotation yesterday. He didn't even play yesterday.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, when you look at it, is this when they're going to call Udonis Haslem? Hey, go give us some minutes. Hey, Tristan Thompson did it. You could go give us some minutes.
Yeah, unless Shaq comes out of retirement for either of these teams, there's right. And don't forget the big Shamrock did play in Boston, so.
Right, for sure. Right. He's going to come back. And then, I mean, the Joker the Nuggets are like 9-2 against Miami. I think that's something like 9-1, 9-2. And the last time they played, I think Joker went for 30 something. And he was like, I want to say 16 of 14 shoot. Like it was just.
Yeah. And Markieff Morris is still in concussion protocol, by the way. Was it Markieff or was it the other one?
One of the Morrises. I can't remember. I think it was Markieff. But and it's also too. Now that you brought that up, Mike, the little sidebar here. I'm gonna go off of the sidebar. No compelling stories or nothing with these teams. Do we remember the beef? The
Miami Heat outside the locker room.
Yes, they were waiting outside the locker room. So don't tell me there's no beef or there's no compelling storylines coming into this series, especially with the Heat, because if Chris Mannix loves the drama, man, we got to have the drama. There's drama right there for Chris Mannix. He can go and cover that little tiff that they had and see if there's any flame or go flame up the flames that's there with the Heat. So yeah, that to me, that's what it comes down to is in any of these teams, who is going to stop Nikola Jokic? And they don't have a legit. Yeah, we'll see. You'll see some like you mentioned. There'll be some stints where the Al Horford will come and switch on to Joker. He'll come from the backside, something like that. They'll block his shot. They'll go their way, get a bucket. You'll see that a couple times, but that doesn't mean that they stopped him. And then you look at everybody else when it comes to Miami. A lot of those guys right now are playing out of where they normally are. They're playing outside of their role. Gabe Vincent, I'm not taking anything away from the dude. He's playing great. But do you think that there's anybody else on this Nuggets team that where Gabe Vincent could play on this team? No, there's not. the players are better on the Denver. They're just simply better than the Miami Heat. Outside of Jimmy Butler, but we got a Joker and we got a Jamal to counter that, to go back at that. When you flip to Boston, do you trust Tatum? Do you trust Jaylen Brown at this point? They've been so inconsistent this entire playoff series. It's hard to trust what they're going to do. They're in the Anthony Davis category right now. So I just don't see any of these teams right now taking this Nuggets team outside of 5 games, 6 games, something like that.
Well, like JC commented a little bit earlier, both of these teams, they're just, it's funny how they're forcing a game 7 just to be swept by the Nuggets. I wouldn't go that far. JC just said Nugs in 5 for either of the finals. Both of these teams look gassed. They're, like I said, they're only going to get 2 days off, 2 full days off.
Right.
That's for sure, because the winner has to come out on Monday. After tomorrow, we'll know who the Nuggets are going to play. And not only that, Matt, you're going to have Aaron Gordon on either Jimmy and or Jason Tatum. So you're going to have that locked in. And, obviously you're going to have a couple switches, pick and rolls, whatever the switches may be during a game.
And MPJ's play great defense. He's long.
Everyone's saying that Miami and Boston are good shooters. I don't think the Lakers were prepared for the lethal shooting that the Nuggets had. And I don't know if the Boston's going to pull the Lakers out and say, "Hey, Robert, just go play free safety like AD did." But that didn't work. So because Joker's just going to draw that double team and kick it out to a KCP and an MPJ, even a Jamal Murray. So I think they match up better with Miami. Not only that, because they would have home court advantage, but they don't match up bad with Boston either. Jaylen Brown, you counter with Jamal. Jason Tatum, you eliminate what he does with Aaron Gordon. Again, Al Horford's not going to stop Joker. Robert Williams may give him a little issue at first just because of his length, but he's not going to be like Jimmy Butler and be tentative to take it inside.
No. Yeah, no. And the biggest thing too, like the thing that the Nuggets ran into trouble in the past was their wing defenders. They got some pretty damn good wing defenders. And you already mentioned Aaron Gordon, and then you got, because Aaron Gordon can guard the wing, like you just said. And then you got Bruce Brown, KCP. And then I think this is going to be a series where Christian Brown can be a little bit more useful. Because if you look at that Lakers series, it was a 6-man bench. Christian Brown came in, but then he went right back out, because that series was I think that Lakers series, the moment might have been too much for him. I'm not saying that the kid can't handle it, because he's coming off of high school championships. He's coming off of a national championship. So the kid's got some pretty good pedigree when it comes to winning or being in the situation. But that was, you could tell he was a little too fast for him maybe on that end. But I think this series, any one of these teams, if they play him, Christian Brown will be another big important piece to this series, or a part of playing defense and giving some of those bench minutes. But yeah, the wing defenders, they can stick with any of these guys that Miami has or Boston has on the wing. So yeah, I just don't see. But I mean, I say all that, but I would not be shocked whether if it's Miami or Boston if they win the first game. I wouldn't be shocked, because there's that adrenaline, there's that rush, there's that we just got out of the 7-game series. We're still working. There's that mindset that could steal them game 1, but that doesn't mean that they're better. That doesn't mean that they're going to win the series. It's just the way the basketball is going to roll. But do I think that's going to happen? No. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I saw that. I would not be surprised if I saw that.
Well, and I think it's safe to say that 99.8% of America thought the Lakers were going to win at least game 3.
Right.
The first game back in LA. And that didn't happen.
And then for sure when LeBron goes off.
Yeah. And then game 4, LeBron did everything he could to not get swept. And even that didn't help. So we will see. Before we get out of here, Matt, I mean, like we mentioned, Kyle Lowry and Gabe Vincent, are they going to slow down Jamal? Probably not. Is Caleb Martin going to slow down KCP? Probably not. If anything, KCP is the 3-and-D guy. He's going to eliminate Caleb Martin more than the other way around. Again, Max Strus, is he going to slow down or shut down MPJ? Probably not. Is whoever they throw out there at power forward now, Jimmy Butler, Max Strus, I think Max Strus is the 4, technically the 4. Is Jimmy Butler going to neutralize Aaron Gordon? Let's face it, Aaron Gordon, not the offensive juggernaut that maybe he was in Orlando. So I think you'll see Jimmy Butler more on Jamal Murray, to be honest with you. Maybe fly out to help with KCP and MPJ. I think you'll see more of that matchup if it is Miami. And again, you don't really have any other option besides to throw Bam and another help defender on Joker. I mean, they're getting with Bam. Let's face it. Bam is more athletic than Al Horford, Robert Williams, and probably Jokic combined. I mean, I think it's safe to say that
he's at
but Joker is just too big and too skilled for Bam even to cover by himself. And let's face it, Bam is probably more athletic than Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis is known as a pretty good rim protector, and even he couldn't stop Joker. So it's going to be a lot of issues for either team to cover Jokic. And again, unless Celtics figure out how to do that roaming free safety, 8 seconds in the paint for Robert Williams, and have I guess Horford be the main defender on him, and then have Robert Williams, he's going to have to leave somebody open on the perimeter. So that's what you run into with Boston as well.
Right. And it's just you can't, and with Miami, it's because it cracked me up when with the Lakers, how people were just like, oh, we'll just get this guy and go in and throw the body at him. Get this guy, just throw
Rui. They figured it out.
They figured it out with Rui. And Tristan Thompson, like I remember watching that game, and that's one of the reasons why I shut it off. Tristan Thompson is getting some great minutes, and he did.
They did the halftime interview with Tristan Thompson.
I know.
By the way, did Lisa Salters know who that was?
Of course, because she was sitting there working with him. Remember, Tristan Thompson was sitting at the desk with ESPN like a month earlier.
Yeah,
so, I get it. Yes, Lisa Salt, my God, she doesn't know who the hell Nikola Jokic is, but she hands him she's doing the Western Conference MVP with him. Give me a freaking break.
Honestly, I'm surprised nothing was. I know the Nuggets are going to be classy when they're getting a trophy presentation that lasted all of 4 minutes, but yeah, it would have been funny if someone said this is Michael Malone.
I would have laughed. It would have been so. And Nikola said, "It was nice to meet you, by the way," or something like that,
But they're gonna be classy in person, but
right. And
Jokic probably wouldn't say anything like that at a press conference like Michael Malone did. He's throwing shades all over the place.
Let the coach do it. Let the coach do it. I love that. I just don't see anybody that the Heat and the Celtics can throw at Nikola. Is Zeller going to play some minutes in this series?
Oh yeah, I guess he is the backup. I totally forgot about Cody Zeller because, like Tristan Thompson, he was sitting on his couch about a month ago.
And so there's the other Jokic, Nikola Jovic, with Miami. Is he going to play?
Is he the wish.com version of Jokic?
Yeah, I mean, this is what we're looking at right now, and this is my point is that people are going to look at the media, the national media is going to look at guys on these teams. We'll just throw this guy. We're going to see more minutes of this guy. The dude doesn't get minutes because he doesn't play and he's not very good. So why in the hell are you going to think that all of a sudden you're going to pull him off the bench and go throw him at the 2-time MVP Western Conference Final? You know what I'm saying?
If anything, Rui did way better offensively than he did defensively.
Yeah, and in my opinion, that killed him. Rui should have just played offense because he was giving them offensive minutes. He was giving them the offense they needed, and they were wasting his energy and they're wasting his time on defense.
Yeah,
Anthony Davis, you got 15. I don't care if he puts 40 on you. You do whatever the hell you can. You got him. Like why there was we got to give him help, and then he's in the locker room, man. Oh man, I just can't believe this. I set in my locker. Did you see that after the game?
He just sat there for like 4, and then LeBron came up to him and said, "Hey, we did everything we could." Whatever.
Right, and then whatever, and then their press conference with the stupid glasses, the stupid outfit. Yeah.
By the way, and we haven't got a chance to talk. Was Darvin Ham really complaining about the officials in his post game? Like really?
Duh, man.
And look at a lot of those games, it was bad calls both ways. And watching last night, I was like, man, we thought all of the Denver series were bad ref. I mean, I don't know. Like both teams were just getting absolutely terrible. Like that offensive foul on Jimmy Butler where he went up and made the shot. That could have been that was probably the difference right there, where he turned and he elbowed Derek White in the face, and they call it an offensive foul like 10 minutes after Jimmy Butler made the basket. And then they had to review it to see if it was flagrant. Like I don't even think Butler knew anybody was there until he turned around and Derek White caught an elbow in the face. And look at Derek White, Colorado native, whatever. Like, dude, you didn't get shot in the face. You don't need to be laying there for 5. Like, dude, come on. That should have been a no call. Like, even the announcer said, even Stan Van Gundy, who we talked about earlier, was like, how is that even possible? And I think everyone tweeted it out like, that was just
one of the worst.
And that turned out to be the difference in the game. That basket got erased because somehow Jimmy Butler should have known a defender was going to be there.
Right. And I don't understand. Maybe they'll look at it this year, going in the side, because there's been so many fouls. There's been so many instances that come up where it's like, okay, this guy's suspended, this guy's flagrant one, this guy's blah blah blah. I think they got to look back and they have to make it black and white. And if you have, if you're in like the Draymond Green, if you're in the Dylan Brooks category of past offenses, then you're in like a different. That's a whole totally different thing. But you can't look at. They need to make it more black and white is what I'm saying. Like with certain fouls and certain things, like there's some shooting fouls where the guy's coming down and he's coming in. I feel like he's coming into the defender space because the defender's going up too. The defender has space, and then I feel like the offensive guy's coming into space, and then it's like, okay, well, why wasn't that a foul, but this was a foul? So there's so many things that I'm confused about that I would like some kind of lesser gray, more black and white situation is what I'm saying. And that was one of them. That was the foul where I was like, you could see the elbow hitting him and boom. Okay. But like you said, how did he know he was there? He's trying to make it just didn't make sense.
All he did was turn.
Yeah.
And Derek White's face was right there. Like, and again, they said there was no egregious, it shouldn't have been a flagrant. It shouldn't have been anything, to be honest.
It shouldn't have been anything.
Again, Jimmy Butler doesn't have a past of elbowing dudes in the face. Like, there's no, I don't know. That was just, and that proved to be the difference in this game. And again, Jimmy shot only like 4 of 20. So let's not forget that he wasn't making, I think him and Bam were like a combined 8 for 34 or some crazy stat like that. So
Bam was 4 for 16. Jimmy was 5 for 21 last night. Bam had 11 points, 13 rebounds, but 11 points.
So they only combined for 35 points.
Yeah. Mike, I mean, the more I look at this, if the Nuggets get the Heat, like that's 4. That's a sweep. Like if you look at it on paper, I'm looking at this roster. There's nobody here that's going to stop Nikola Jokic.
And I totally forgot you brought up Cody Zeller. Look, neither of these teams want to bang inside. Neither of them. Neither of them want to be physical. They're sharpshooters, Matt. That's you're going to see Jason Tatum and Jimmy Butler drive, but look at it. Look at the games. They only drive when it's a pretty much open lane when nobody's paying attention. That's when they drive. And even Jimmy Butler, he drives in, sees the tree standing there, and he passes it back out because he's so scared of you. You think Nikola Jokic is going to be scared to do anything on Robert Williams? Heck no. If he gets his block shot, he'll figure it out another way to get a basket. Like he's going to,
and Robert Williams is going to be in foul trouble. If he's guarding Nikola, he's going to be in foul trouble.
Yeah, because he hasn't seen these tricks.
All these tricks. I don't want to be that guy to where I'm looking at it and like there's no shot. I think Boston has the best chance to beat the Nuggets,
slow them down,
to be there. But even them, there's just it's hard to see it. It's hard to see it with them. But Miami, I don't want to say they have absolutely no shot because they've been red hot. But gosh darn it, you look at this freaking roster, and I don't see anybody that can stop number 15.
Yeah, like I said, unless Shaq comes out of retirement for either team, if I had to choose somebody from both teams, Matt, Robert Williams would be the one that would give him the most
Right.
issues,
Yes.
and he's going to figure out those issues anyway. So he would be the only guy that stands out. And again, he is a tree, so he does stand out.
Mhm.
But he's the only guy, unless Horford might get lucky, get a few, even Bam might get lucky a few possessions. But other than that, yeah, it's just hard to see anyone really slowing Jokic down. And again, maybe you do what the Lakers eventually figured out, just let him do whatever he wants and then shut everybody else down. Maybe that's and even that failed for LA and that failed for Phoenix, that failed for Minnesota. So I don't even know what blueprint you can take for Boston or Miami in past series against the Nuggets and say, well, we can draw from that. We can learn from that, because it didn't work.
And game 4 in the Western Conference Finals is the perfect example of that, because the Nuggets were down 15 going into halftime. Nothing was going right. Nothing was working outside of wasn't Jamal going off? KCP was going off a little bit. Outside of that, nothing was working. And then in the third quarter, they hung 36 points. That is a perfect game to where you can say they're okay. This is what you got to do to them. This is what you got to do, Bob. You got to get going downhill. You got to get a LeBron James to go downhill and go to the basket every time. Well, Jimmy Butler can do that. There's not a rim protector. Jimmy Butler could do that. Jason Tatum can do that. Jaylen Brown could do that. But what happens when they figure it out, they fix it, and then the second half comes out and it's a totally different half than what you were doing? Then the blueprint's gone. You throw that blueprint in the trash. Oh, that's not going to work. So yeah, I agree 100%, man. It's like there is not a blueprint. You said it. You hit the nail on the head. There is not a blueprint out there that you can look at and say, this is how we can slow down Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, you're going to have to just start with ingredients from scratch at this point, because nothing has worked for any team. I mean, maybe you can. I just don't see it, Matt, because Anthony Davis was your best shot in these playoffs, and maybe when you threw Gobert and the big purr at him, that was your best shot. I mean, DeAndre Ayton gave Jokic problems in the past, and I say problems, more like minor issues in the past. But look at, he did not want to be in this series against Jokic. He was eating it, and even Jack Lambush went out there, and he's
the one that's done the best on Joker.
And even Joker ate him alive, and he did the best on him.
Right.
So I don't know what you can do.
If let me put my Boston Celtics, let me put my Joe Mazzulla hat on real quick. If I'm Boston, I throw Horford and I throw Robert Williams, and that's I'm going to live and die by that. If Joker does what he does, I'm going to live and die by that. But I'm going to make sure I do that on the defensive end. On the offensive end, I'm pulling him out and I'm making him run around. That's what I would do. Now, however you do that, if it's a switch and you got him guarding somebody that's moving around, I'm not necessarily wanting to put one of my best offensive players that's going to switch, get put in a switch with Joker, but I'm going to make Joker move around. And then the other guys, I'm going to go man to man on those guys. I might even double Jamal Murray, because we've seen what Jamal Murray, when he gets into that frustrated, what I've noticed by Jamal, if you can get one of those guys that get in his face and get so close to him that they play man defense on him, they can smell his breath. That's what I tell my kids. I want you on him so you know what kind of bubble gum he's chewing. If they do that, Jamal gets pissed. He was getting mad at Schroeder. He was getting mad at Kyle Allen. Who's the cat in Phoenix? Hammett? Shimmitt?
Shaban Hamlet.
You know what I'm talking about. Those two frustrated. They got in his head. Did he cook them overall in the series? Yes. But that's what you got to do to that guy. That's what you got to do to Jamal. You got to get him aggravated, not necessarily pissed off, but you got to get him aggravated the way you're guarding him and keep sending guys at him. That's what I would do. I would control and feast at Jamal. I would look at getting Jamal out of his game and do what I can with Joker. That's how I would defend the Denver Nuggets. Everybody else, MPJ can go off. KCP can go off. Aaron Gordon can go off. You can bring in Bruce Brown off the bench. He can go off. So it's like, I don't know what the hell we're going to do with those guys. Hopefully they miss shots. But you have to control Jamal. You have to control Jamal.
Yeah, it's just too many weapons. And listen, Jimmy Butler's a pretty decent two-way player. He's been known for his defense as well.
Yep.
Jason Tatum hasn't been known for his.
No.
Jaylen Brown isn't known for his defense.
And Jaylen Brown's not a smart basketball player either.
And who starts at point guard for Boston? Is it Jaylen Brown?
I think it's Jaylen Brown.
So Jaylen Brown is their one. Who's their two?
It's got to be either Tatum or it could be Smart. Could be Marcus Smart.
So they're starting five: Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, who's a pretty he's pretty decent defender in his own right. Jason Tatum's not known for his defense. Al Horford, yeah, he blocks shots. He's really not known for his defense. And Robert Williams, who's pretty much known for his defense because he really doesn't have much of an offensive game unless he's wide open in the paint. So 2 of your 5 starters, Matt, known for their defense more than their offense. That's it.
Right.
Miami, Caleb Martin, not known for his defense. Gabe Vincent, not known for his defense. Jimmy Butler, like I just said, decent two-way player. Whoever you throw at the 4, whether it's Kevin Love, Gabe Strus, whoever, not known for their defense. Bam, really not known for his defense. So 2 out of the 5 potential 10 starters for either team really known for their defense in Robert Williams and Jimmy Butler and Marcus Smart, I guess you could throw in there.
Yeah.
I mean, none of these guys are known for defensive plays.
Right.
So, and even MPJ stepped up his defense in these playoffs. He had a couple key blocks in those series. Obviously, Aaron Gordon has shut down a lot of big-name stars in these playoffs. Jokic, I mean, again, not known for his defense, but he'll get a couple blocks. He'll get 25 rebounds in a game. Like, I just don't see how either team gets past the Nuggets. But again, like you said, they could steal game 1 just because both of those teams are coming off a game 7 victory, especially if it's Boston because you'll be at home. But
like again, like with that, like I'm not worried about Boston doesn't have a home court. They don't have that home court advantage in this playoffs. And like the Lakers, you look at the Lakers like, oh man, it's going to be a tough get to win, a tough situation to get a win there. Miami won 2 games straight in Boston. So, and you're telling me the Nuggets can't do that? And with Boston, with the Celtics, I felt like their team defense was a hell of a lot better last season and even the beginning of the season this year, as opposed to where it is now. It's not as good, but can they be that way? I don't know if they can go back. I would think they would, but what's Crazy Joe got going on for there? What's the wild card Joe Mazzulla there? What's he got in store? Because that's always a factor too. I thought that would be a big problem for the Celtics, and it has been, and I think it still is in times. But I think this team, especially with these 3 straight wins, have kind of got back, or there's something working with Joe and his team now with the Celtics. So I think that the coaching mistakes, we can kind of maybe overlook that or not even think about it anymore but still, he wasn't calling timeouts when Miami was going off what was that? There was a couple games ago when Miami was going. There's no timeouts being. There's still issues there with Joe Mazzulla that you would give the edge to Michael Malone. Michael Malone, the longest tenured coach in the NBA. So I just don't see it, Mike. I don't see either of these teams beating the Nuggets. I don't.
Well, he's up there in tenure. I think Pop has him beat.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Pop. I forgot that dude still. You want real quick? You want to talk about one of the luckiest? I almost cussed. David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and now he's going to have a chance at
Victor
Wembanyama. What the hell?
Yeah, so I thought he was going to retire pretty soon.
I did too.
He may coach until he can't breathe anymore now.
Well, and I mean, that's funny.
He might.
I knew a coach that was coaching. I want to say it was high school that still coached, and he had a respirator. He had oxygen, he had oxygen on the sidelines. And I remember I was refereeing. And I'm like, how do you get worked up? Like, what happens when you get kind of, stressed out? Like, do you have to turn up the oxygen and get more? How does that work, dude?
Yeah, crazy. 2 last things I want to throw at you before we get out of here. Number 1, I tweeted out yesterday after that game went final. after the clock hit zeros, I tweeted out, all of a sudden, Joe Mazzulla can now coach. Everyone from Colorado now knows who Derek White is finally.
Mm-hmm.
And Boston Celtics could make history, and that Jimmy Buckets is mortal. So those are the 4 points that I got after yesterday's game. Any beef with those points?
I don't have any beef. The jury's still out with Joe for me.
I'm just saying, like, all of a sudden.
I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. Yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, no, and Jimmy, because I saw a lot of Jimmy Buckets hate last night, and it's warranted because
I love Jimmy Butler. Don't get me wrong.
I know you got the jersey, baby.
Yeah.
He's no Joel Embiid. What, like, I saw people trying to just no. What Joel Embiid happened with what he did? No, wait, Jimmy Butler. That's
way different because Jimmy Butler, I don't even think was on the MVP ballot to begin with.
Exactly. So I saw that out there. So you can't put that. I think he just had a bad game.
Yeah.
And could you say if he's mortal? Yeah. I still think he's playoff Jimmy. He's playoff Jimmy.
Yeah, just look at it, like that play we brought up where they called the offensive foul on him. That was the difference in the game. I know there was a lot of differences, like him and Bam. Like
that's where it started.
Him and Bam shot terribly. They only combined for 35 points. I get it, but I'm just throwing out one play in particular, and that was a huge call.
Yeah,
and that ended up being the difference in the game.
And then down the stretch, he had 3 straight possessions where he was the only one that touched the ball.
He scored at one point 10 straight for Miami.
Yep. And he made the big 3 free throws. And Duncan Robinson, who couldn't missed 2 wide, good open looks. So yeah, I mean, I think Jimmy will play better. I think we're gonna get. I'm excited for it because I love Game 7s. This is gonna be a big one.
Yeah, and my final point was, I think I saw, and I forgot to screen grab it, but this is the first NBA playoffs conference finals since 2013, I want to say, in which we had a sweep in the Western Conference, and then the Eastern Conference went to Game 7.
Wow!
Can you name any of those teams?
Say that again, real quick.
So this is the first time since 2013, and I could be wrong on the year, in which in the conference finals, the Western team swept their way to the finals, and the Eastern Conference Finals went to a Game 7 like this one is.
Well, I'm gonna throw LeBron James, the Cleveland Cavaliers in there, and the Boston Celtics, right? Toronto, Eastern Conference, Western Conference, the Warriors swept. Trying to think of who else. Who else has been in the Western Conference Finals besides the Warriors in the past in that little stretch there?
Well, I'll help you out because actually you were wrong on all of them.
All of them? I didn't even get this. I didn't even get the Cavaliers.
No, it was LeBron James though. It was the Heat and Indiana, and with Paul George went 7 games, and the San Antonio Spurs swept the Memphis Grizzlies in the Western Conference. First time this is the first time since that year in which these areas have both happened. So
okay. I forgot LeBron for a second played for the freaking Heat.
Well, they made 4 straight finals appearances.
This freaking guy, that pisses me off. How many teams has this guy played on? The Cavaliers, the Heat, and the Lakers. Jesus Christ. He's not my goat.
4. I count 4, even though he was on the Cavs 2 different times.
He's not my goat.
So listen, this will be the first time in 11 years in which a guy named Kawhi, LeBron, or Steph, and I guess you could throw Giannis in there, have not won a championship. How about that? It'll be the first time in 11 years that a guy named Giannis, Kawhi, LeBron, or Steph have not won the NBA championship. And let's face it, Giannis only won 1. Kawhi actually won 2, one with the Spurs and one with the Raptors. And the rest have been LeBron either with Miami or the Lakers, and Steph all with the Warriors. So 11 years.
That's crazy. Isn't that something though? Considering I know Kawhi's been injured his entire Clipper career, but the championships he won was with the Spurs and the Raptors, where he spent one season with the Raptors, and
I thought it was only like half a season.
Because he got traded.
A season and a half, because I think he went there the year before. I don't remember, but
it was odd.
It was one of the only times he was healthy. Let's put it that way.
Is that dude overrated or just hurt, or both?
I think he's just hurt. I don't think he's overrated. I think he's a
He's
really
sort
good. I think he's a really good two-way player.
Defensively, man, I would love to have that dude on my team.
Yeah, he's just for Kawhi. It's just bad luck. Honestly, like, I don't really blame anyone for injuries. Like, even Paul George. Like, I mean, to call them just bad because they're injured, I think that's unfair. It's just bad luck, man. Because Kawhi, I think, would be up there. I don't want to say top 5. He would be up there in the top 10 players of all time if he stayed healthy. That's just how good he is when he's healthy. And that's an unfortunate asterisk you have to throw on these guys when they're healthy.
But it was nice to see the Nuggets do what they did in the bubble, come back 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, look at now. Look at MPJ and Jamal. I mean, 100% healthy Nuggets team, and look what happens. So, I like Jamal, man. Like, dude, you can, at the rec league in Parker that I play on, you can fall, like one of our teammates did. You could fall on somebody's shoe and just twist the wrong way, and it's over.
It's done.
Like,
that's right.
You can't help that.
I almost tore my ACL tripping over the dog this morning.
So, I mean, it's just unfortunate, man. I think, yeah, Kawhi's just gotten a bad luck of the draw. I mean, I don't know if it's just body breaking down and you just got to call it quits, or you just keep fighting. I don't know. If you're in his position, man, just like who was it that said, like, speaking of, when Val Nichushkin, the whole story came out of him, we still don't know where he is, by the way. We're still looking for him.
Right.
I mean, he's still on the milk carton, if you're wondering.
What a story.
Like, when that first came out, they said it was all alcohol related. And when he was dealing with the injury this season, Matt, because look at what happened when he was healthy last season. I mean, he was considered maybe the third best player on this Avalanche team that won could have won finals, or, he could have won the Conn Smythe as playoff MVP.
And they invested a lot of money in him.
When that story first broke, everyone was like, he kind of got into alcohol because of the rehab and the dark days and just trying to get back from it. It takes a toll on you, man, trying to come back from those injuries.
And then trying to, stay away from the pain pills.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's man, like I got no, like, that's when people they make millions of dollars and I got to go to my normal job here. It's not, they're just not playing a game. There's a lot more that goes into your life when you're a professional athlete in any sport.
Like I said, if I had this break for the Nuggets, if I was hurt, I would be at the facility almost 24/7 to have that support around me. If you have a family, that's different. Obviously, you have, even if you had a family, Matt, you could shut them out.
It's still your job. You still got to go to work.
If I was injured or had this long break, I would be at the facility for as long as they would let me be there, just to have that support, to work out, to just have that. Yeah, just to have that around you, I think, is a good thing to have. So
yeah, when you're hurt as a professional athlete, in my mind, your job now goes from not contributing on the court, the field, or whatever. It goes to you getting healthy, and that's your new job. So you got to go to work to get healthy.
Yeah. So
I agree.
Yeah. So it could be demonstrative for your career going forward. All right, Matt, let's get it on here. I see you have the NBA Finals hat behind you. Any other merch that you got?
Check this out. I got to get a frame for this.
Is that the Joker on the horse? I saw that. Yeah.
I got to get a frame for that, and then I got a couple other more shirts coming. I got the White Man Can't Jump with Joker and Jamal shirt upstairs. I'm gonna be wearing that proudly. And then I didn't pull the trigger on the finals shirts. Did you get one?
I'm still debating. I just ordered my Jamal, the one they wore to sweep the Lakers, the Denver City edition.
That's a fire.
I got that one with the finals patch already.
I might order one of those too. Yeah. I don't know if I was gonna do Joker, Jamal, or AG.
Yeah, if you got the hookup with China, then you're good. You can just get it from there. So I think it was only $70. So
I might need a link.
Yeah. So I don't know what it's gonna look like when it shows up, but it could be a whole different person on the jersey. It could say like Murray or something like that. I don't know. It could say Landry Shamet on it. I don't know.
Shamet with a Nuggets jersey.
A lot of people don't like those Nuggets. The white ones that they wore, I like those.
Those are iconic now, man.
My favorite is the one that I have of Joker, with the rainbow like kind of mixed in there.
The white. Yeah.
But I like these white ones. A lot of people saying, "Oh, it looks like DU," and I forgot who tweeted this out, man. It said, maybe not a big fan of these jerseys, but to sweep the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals with Denver across your chest just hits different.
For sure. That's what I think the biggest. That's what, like, you're going to see all the pictures, and when they're because right, this is like we're looking at helicopter flip almost situations. We're going to remember that play where Jamal tries to strip the ball, then AG blocks him, and then the horn sounding and everybody putting their hands up. That's iconic, and that jersey is what we're always going to see.
Yeah. By the way, do you see everyone's complaining about, how the refs do back that 2-minute drill or whatever, and look, they got missed calls, and they said Jamal wasn't a missed call. He got all ball, but they're saying he was grabbing his wrist.
Oh God, yes.
And well, like LeBron fashion, after the play, he's like holding his wrist, and they went back and looked at it and said it was the right call to have a no call.
The one that 100%.
By the way, did you see the one too where Jokic was backing down Tristan Thompson, and Thompson's basically giving Jokic a wedgie? Have you seen that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I saw too where Jamal was. Remember when he saved that one out of bounds? And to me, live, it looked like he was out of bounds, and he stepped out of bounds. I think they got a 3 off of that one too. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, there's some calls out there but it's both ways. It's both ways.
Yeah, I mean that the refs have been pretty terrible in all these playoffs for all teams. So
right.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna get out of here. Hopefully, we'll know who the Nuggets are playing. We will know after tomorrow, and then we can finally get by the time we reconvene next week, Matt, we will have Game 1 of the NBA Finals to recap and dive into. Hopefully, we'll get into a little bit of the NHL Stanley Cup Final, as well as the Florida Panthers still await their next opponent in the Stanley Cup Final. We'll dive into a little baseball season. So far, we haven't really touched on baseball because of these long playoff runs, and also a little bit of NFL news and notes as well for the offseason in that one as well. By the way, the Milwaukee Bucks have a new head coach, Adrian Griffin, and I guess that was handpicked by Giannis. So,
yep.
And Nick Nurse, who Adrian Griffin was assistant to in Toronto, pulled out of the running for Milwaukee. So
that's awesome. I like that. I like that move. I like that coach. And I think with Giannis going that, like, having more influence on there, that tells you that he's not going anywhere. Because there's been rumblings and talks that maybe Giannis might be out of there, but with this whole deal, I don't think Giannis is going anywhere.
Yeah, Giannis handpicked him, I don't think.
Right.
They're like, we can't let Giannis leave. And they're already photoshopping Giannis in Warriors jerseys.
I know. I saw that, and I was so disgusted. And I think Giannis is like, there's more players. I think the thing with these European players is that I think they're more loyal than the American players. I guess I don't say that, but I mean, I don't have a very good example outside of what we got with Joker and Giannis. I mean, Damian Lillard it looks like he wants to stay with Portland. So, but it's good to see these guys, plant their flag, and it's good that they asked. They got Giannis's approval. They got his input.
Let me ask you this. I know a lot of people were mad that KD went to Golden State. It was really the only way he could win a finals. Would you be mad if Giannis went to a Golden State, or I'm just throwing this out, Lakers or somewhere like that? Would you be mad at him if he went to
would.
Teams?
I wouldn't look at Giannis the same way. I would not. Just like I look at LeBron James, I don't look at him the same way. If LeBron would have done all of this in Cleveland, man, different discussion.
Well, let me throw this out. Obviously, the decision was maybe, if LeBron looked back at it now, maybe probably the wrong decision to do it on national TV. But if he went to Miami, 4 straight appearances in his 4 years, back-to-back championship, if he went back to Cleveland and stayed there and didn't come to the Lakers, would you have a different opinion on him?
Yes.
But would you still throw the Miami thing at him, or be like, all right, he had to do that? Or
well, I that whole thing was planned. Like, if you look back on that, go if you want to go all over revisionist history, when Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Carmelo Anthony, that little group was drafted, it was all planned out. Melo ruined the plan because he signed an extra couple years extension to stay, and then the LeBron and Wade and Bosh, I think, they signed less years because they were going to be free agents at the same time so they can play together. That was all planned out. When he went back to Cleveland, won the championship, and if he would have stayed there and won more championships and did it there, what he's doing, different conversation for me.
Because I'm sure if he stayed in Cleveland, I'm sure he could have got Kyrie to stay. I'm sure he could have somehow got Anthony Davis to come to Cleveland. He got Kevin Love. I'm sure he could have got brand household names to Cleveland. But again, Cleveland, I don't know who wants to go there on purpose. But he could have got big names to go there.
Right. I agree. Different conversation if he stays there and does all this in Cleveland for me.
So we'll see. By the way, I know we're trying to get out of here, but all these topics do come to mind. Is there a way you retire both Jokic and Carmelo's number? I know that's a big debate, especially here in Denver.
I'm working on a piece for that. Yeah. And I think there is a way you do it. But it has to be when they're both when Joker's done too. I don't think you can come in and retire. You can do something special for Carmelo, but I don't think you come in and retire the number or whatever. When Joker retires, I think there's something you can do with and I'm not saying at the same time.
I was going to say, do you have a joint ceremony? Because I think that's kind of disrespectful to both.
Yeah, guys. It's not at the same time. You got to do something special for Carmelo. And then you got to, but it's tough because the guy is wearing the jersey right now. There's something that you can do.
You have to wait.
You have to wait. You have to wait to do something. There's something that you can do, but you have to wait, and it's got to be where you don't disrespect Nikola Jokic, because that's what it is right now. We don't disrespect. I'll give Carmelo his flowers for what he did here and everything like that, but Nikola Jokic, we're not disrespecting that man at all.
No,
at all.
And I'm sure if you had Jokic, he'd probably be like, "Yeah, do it at halftime in the NBA Finals." He wouldn't
exactly. I'll wear 16 or something, something goofy like something Joker.
Just be like, hey, retire at halftime. I don't care.
Yeah.
But just give me a different jersey. I don't really care.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean, you can do. The only thing I guess that draws a correlation is what the Broncos did with Manning and Shapuka. Look at Shapuka said, "Yeah, Peyton, you can wear 18," and now they have both of them out there at whatever it's called now, out there at Mile High. They have both of them up there at number 18. I know Peyton's is more like a little sidebar. It's kind of, isn't it smaller, like in the lower right hand?
Yeah,
corner? It's weird.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, they can do it. They can think of ways to do it.
They could totally do it. And if Joker wins a championship, which I think they will, Joker's on Nikola Jokic will mean more than the number 15.
Oh, for sure.
So I think, and then that's where it goes to, Carmelo, you know what I'm saying?
It is funny.
So.
Yeah, it is funny how these debates are coming out now, if they should retire both. I honestly, like, Carmelo's number, maybe not his number, but because you're going to run out of numbers, but there's so many numbers in the NBA. I think the Nuggets and the Knicks both have legitimate cases to retire Melo's number.
For sure.
No. Oklahoma City, no. Lakers, no. Like, did you see what Atlanta did? They came out and posted a picture of, because Carmelo was traded there. He never played a game because I think they bought out his contract. I think that's when he signed with Oklahoma. Remember the Oklahoma City team with Chris Paul, Carmelo Anthony, and Paul George? Remember that?
Yeah.
That was a crazy year.
That was a crazy freaking year. Wasn't he going to go to Houston too?
He did go to Houston.
He did go to Houston. That's right. I forgot about Houston.
Honestly,
I knew it was there.
I honestly liked Portland Carmelo with the
double
zero.
Dude, I thought Portland Carmelo was going to break our hearts.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was when he was in Oklahoma City, that was the same year that Dame hit that buzzer beater over Paul George.
That nasty one.
Yeah. So there you
go.
It's funny how everyone's coming out of the woodworks now and saying, I think I even responded to it with my old Dice jersey and saying, "How long you been a Nuggets fan?" Blah blah blah. It's funny how those people are coming out.
I gotta pull out my stuff out of the closet here, man. I got Nuggets. I gotta pull that out. I was gonna contribute to that, but that McDice jersey brought up old memories for me because they traded Rodney Rogers for him, and I love Rodney Rogers.
Well, and that was on draft day, so that was kind of
love Rodney Rogers.
Because McDice was, if memory serves, was drafted by the Clippers and traded on draft day for Rodney Rogers. So, and then he went to Phoenix and then came back and then
he didn't want to be here. Antonio McDyess never won.
Yeah, those were, although they only won. How about this? The 2 years before Carmelo arrived, the Nuggets won a combined 48 games in those 2 years.
Yep.
And then all 9 years that Melo was here, they made the playoffs. So I know they didn't never crack the NBA Finals or anything, but it was a fun era.
It was. But this is that all that stuff we went through, Mike. And then now we get to enjoy this.
Hey, that Carmelo trade to New York, one of those draft picks they got back was Jamal Murray. So don't forget that either.
Don't forget that either. And that was a fun little team. Danilo Gallinari. I see Gallinari on the sidelines. My wife even points him out. Yeah.
Oh, Gallo. I to be honest with you, when they showed those Baby Joker highlights and him passing the ball behind his back to Danilo and Kenneth Faried, I'm like, oh man.
Ooh, was it? Remember Faried?
Yeah.
A prime Faried with Joker? My God.
Yeah. Poor Faried.
Poor Faried.
All right, now we'll get out of here. Thank you for tuning in and interacting with us. Don't forget to like and follow all the social media platforms. YouTube at 5280 Sports Radio. Go ahead and subscribe to that on Facebook, 5280 Sports and Lifestyle. This has been the Wheelhouse right here. And don't forget to go and check out everything at e5280sports.com. A bunch of articles, bunch of blogs, bunch of content for you. New podcast coming your way each and every week. So don't forget about that as well. Hopefully, Matt, you'll have some shorts on this week.
Hopefully. I got shorts on, but I'll have shorts on.
All right.
While I'm doing shorts.
There you go. Well, we'll get out of here. Don't forget to subscribe and like all those platforms as well. For Matt Mascarenas, I am Michael Spoon. We will talk to you next week breaking down Game 1 of the NBA Finals right here on E5280 Sports.